then humans have unique language and speech. If we were hunter-gatherers, we wouldn't speak a lot, and yet humans do speak a lot. There are up to 1 million words in the English language. That's a lot of words, and scientists, as well as counting facial expressions, they've also counted the amount of words people speak every day. And people have said, why is it that the average man speaks 4,000 words a day? That's over-design. We don't need to do that to survive. So why do we do that? People have also said, why is it that the average woman speaks 8,000 words per day? And by the way, that's a scientific fact. These are all facts. 4,000 for a man, 8,000 for a word. Often men feel a bit smug when they see this statistic, but then I have to point out this means women are twice as over-designed as men. So it actually works the other way around. But the ability to speak is incredible. It's a miracle of mechanical design. We have vocal folds that vibrate. We have a deep throat for resonance. Apes don't have that. They can't speak. We have an agile tongue. As you speak, your tongue is moving all over the place. You don't think about it because you learned to do that as a 2-year-old child. But as we're speaking, our tongue is going up and down. On the right, you can see this cross-section of a human head. For the O sound, the tongue is squashed back. For the R sound, it's more flat. And as you speak, the tongue is moving all the time. In the West Country, that would be UR, down south. I think up here it would be ochai. I remember going to Stornoway and I was trying to find my way to a church. And I asked this lady if the church was in this direction. And she said, ochai. And I said to her, excuse me, but what does that mean? And she explained it just means yes. We also have fine lips to release pressure, because when you make the pa sound or the ba sound, you're building pressure in your mouth, you're releasing it with fine lips. When you speak, you do some very clever things, but you're just not thinking about it because you've learned to do that as a young child. We have dozens of muscles moving in our body to change the shape of the vocal tract, the throat, even the tummy, and our mouth and the tongue to make different shapes. But then we could consider there's a brain area, the Broca area on the left side of the brain that does amazing processing of language, and it is amazing what the brain does. If you do a survey of people and say, when someone is speaking, like I'm speaking at the front, is there a gap between each word? And if you do that survey, most people say, of course there's a gap between each word, because as you speak, I can just hear a gap between every word. Then when you tell people there are no gaps between the words that I'm speaking, it's one continuous series of sounds. The only reason you can hear a gap is that your brain puts a gap between each word. And as someone speaks and you listen, it sounds very clear, sounds that there's gaps between, but that's because the brain is putting a gap between each sound to make distinct words. The brain does some amazing things. People often say to me, what is the single best, most impressive evidence for design? And the answer I generally give is singing. Just hear a Welsh choir singing. That's a great evidence of design. That is what you'd expect. If God had designed us to be worshipping beings, to be beings made in the image of God, to sing praises to God, that's what you'd expect. But how can evolution explain that humans can sing in the most beautiful way?